Is that better?
Have you ever forgot to record?
I think I'm on the right microphone now. It's a great way to start a show. Hi.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to GoJo with Mike Golick Jr. That is me. Not with me, as always, today is Brandon Newman. Super producer Brandon Newman is off attending to family business. He's getting ready for a big old move. And so we called in the big guns today to help out with that. With me, as sometimes, Charlotte Wilder, who you could see right now full-on flexing if you're watching on YouTube, and Jessica Smetana, both joining us. I don't know if you guys are aware, Charlotte and Jess are friends, and they're here on this podcast now. What's up, guys?
Hi, Mike. Hi, Jess.
That's true. We are friends. Hi, Char.
We are friends. I don't think anybody knows it. No one on the internet tweets at me about it ever.
Mike, I want you to answer the question that I was trying to ask you before we started, which is, have you ever forgot to start recording?
No, I've never forgotten to, no, like I've gotten going and then just had to sheepishly hit it in mid-conversation, but I don't think I've ever full-on forgot. Why? Has that happened over on Golick and Smetty, the fine podcast that everyone should download, subscribe, rate, and review?
It hasn't happened on Golick and Smetty because we have a producer who does that for us. If your dad or I were in charge of it, who is to say? But I don't know. It feels like something that's probably happened before to one of us. Right? Char, has that ever happened to you?
No, because nobody ever puts me in charge of recording. They're like, oh, this girl's going to mess up. But did we ever do that on MVP? No.
On our podcast?
No,
like, we never did.
Things definitely got oh, you know what it was? Is they would forget to cut out the things that we were like, please definitely don't put that on the internet. And I would listen in a panic and text you and be like, wait, at 40:26, you need to take this out.
That is the harrowing part about podcasting, I feel like, is when you're doing live, like I always said, live radio makes me feel like I get my grandma's house voice where all right, in this environment, I can't cuss, I've got to be buttoned up. Podcasting always has this weird way, and I always said this before I started doing it full time. Every time I would do someone's podcast, I would walk away and stress for the next hour, like, oh, I said too much. I gave way too much of myself. I was way too comfortable. This is going to go bad.
Mike, I feel that way 100%. Every time after I do this show. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, is that one thing? But I mean, that's natural, right? I don't know. Do you feel that way, Jess? Are you over that?
Well, we do the Levitard show live twice a week and then live to tape the rest of the week. So I'm constantly having to remember which one it is so I can either swear or still swear because there's not really any filter for it. It's just like, oh, we have to bleep that, or oh, it's too late. That already happened.
Right.
Hey, you know what? That's just showbiz. That's all I say after anything
baby.
Like that happens. That's showbiz, baby. That's all that happens. We got a great show today, mostly because it's entirely random and chaotic. And the only real notes I came in with today wanting to talk about was celebrity sightings and this trend of AI pictures on the internet that apparently both of you guys have taken part in. I haven't taken the plunge on this yet because I heard it costs like $10 or $12. And I don't know. I haven't gotten to the point yet because I've done the thing before. I feel like this AI thing is just a more souped up version of these really pretty filters on Instagram that I've occasionally done to myself to feel beautiful. Mm-hmm. And this is just the next step up from that.
Let me tell you something. This was a humbling experience for me because I've been watching people post these like very attractive AI generated photos of themselves the last few days and being like, oh, that looks interesting. I'm probably not going to download that app because they're just harvesting my photos or something. But then one of our Levitard show producers sent me AI generated versions of me that he did from our photos from our photo day. And he was like, hey, these didn't turn out so great. Do you have like better selfies of yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'll send you some. But like, what happened? And he sent them to me. And I was like, pardon me? Like, I have 6 eyeballs in one of these photos. Like, it's not even like, oh my God, I look ugly. It's like the computers completely like forgot how to make a face when they saw my pictures. And it's a disaster. I'll send some of them to you guys. Charlotte, have you attempted to do this yet?
Yeah, and I definitely have like 4 knees in one of them. I have to tell you, I had a similar experience. This talk about giving too much of yourself. So I did it first, right? And I put in like 10 pictures because it was like 10 to 20 pictures. And I was
you
like,
need 10 pictures. I'm like, I don't have 10 selfies of just my face.
right. I do from the college football games I went to, where I would be like, every college football game I went to, I would take a bunch of selfies because like I didn't know what else to do for social media.
As one
because I'm a geriatric millennial now. And so I like put in 10 and I was like, that should be enough. And then I did it and I was like, okay, everybody else looks super hot and I do not. So not only did I do it once, but I then paid to do it another time and uploaded more pictures of myself to see if I'd
Wait,
look
you have
hotter.
to pay every time you do it?
Yes, it's $6 for like a batch of these AI. It's so dumb. I'm embarrassed.
Wait, that's in our the Metalurg Media is going to go bankrupt then because our producer sent me so many of these. All right, I'm sending one of them to you guys right now.
I will
this was
say,
my favorite one.
There's nothing I want to see more than an AI generated picture of Stu Gatz.
Jessica. I'm crying.
Oh no. I understand that this doesn't really work for the famously visual medium of podcasting or YouTube because we're not going to show this picture because, Jess, I don't think you want anyone to see this picture.
I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Jess,
would you be comfortable with me putting it up to the screen so the YouTube audience
Yes,
can see this?
put it up to the... I don't have my phone on me, so I can't do it. But zoom in on the eyes. Zoom in on the eyeballs.
So, YouTube crowd.
Something's happening with the eyes.
Like, what happened here?
Jess, it looks like you got like 5 different botched Botox procedures.
I don't think it looks like me, I hope. But also, why did it do that to the eyes? Doesn't AI know doesn't it know eyeballs? I don't understand.
I mean, it's called AI, for God's sakes.
The only thing it got right was the jawline, and everything above that is just like
I would say they made Midsummer Smetty with the absolute like most deranged eyes on Earth. Wow.
That is incredible. They are disconcerting to me. They make me so uncomfortable. Like, even when I got mine back, I was like, these are definitely not photographs, but a human definitely didn't make them. And it gives me like a weird feeling in my stomach.
I like to imagine that it's actually just a room full of people having to draw these, and they've convinced everyone that it's some sort of AI, but in actuality, it's just like the room of 10,000 chimps with typewriters thing. It's just a room with 10,000 people trying to furiously draw all this shit.
It's like kindergartners though, or something. Like they're using the distort tool on Photoshop and just like stretching things and then like compressing things and
honestly, Jess,
adding eyeballs.
It's really actually reassuring to see how bad the AI was to this, because I was worried for a while they were getting too good, and I don't need this stuff to function too well at this point because then we're nearing Skynet going live and all hell raining loose. So this is kind of reassuring. This is like every time a Boston Dynamics robot falls over on one of those boxes and I'm like, yeah, fuck you, stupid robot.
God. No, it was like when those people killed that robot that was delivering food in Philadelphia, and I was like, all right.
The one good thing Philadelphia did.
I agree with you, Mike. I think it does make me feel a little bit better that like there's been for years like, oh, such and such company is going to fire all their writers and have, AI generated blog posts. And I think some companies actually like do that, but like not to an extent where it can ever yet replace the human touch, as we've seen with this, whatever supercomputer is making these photos. It's not quite there yet.
I'm with you guys. I find it oddly comforting when there are mess ups because it's like, I actually just watched a doc about AI and like the music space. And one of the guys was talking, he was like, savor the moments that you can tell where the computer messed up because soon you won't be able to tell. And I was like, what?
Well, whoa. That was like, there was that controversy over the AI generated rapper that actually got signed to a label. Yeah. And it was all that controversy because it was non-white people, or it was white people that had created what was a non-white rapper that was using the N-word and all of this.
I've never heard about this.
Yeah, it was very brief where it had some sort of come up because the rapper had actually released, so the rapper, in air quotes, had released singles, existed on TikTok, and then got signed to a major label for like a day before all of these rights groups were pointing to this, like, this is clearly racist in a way that we need to acknowledge, and then quickly got dropped from the label. And I don't know what it's doing now, but it was, it was very strange time. But to Charlotte's point, it was kind of, and there's already artists that are using some form of AI to help them kind of, tap into current trends or put things out like that, where you still have to have a human come in at the end and kind of taste test the whole thing, but it is getting dangerously close.
I do wonder though, like what happens to that rapper, one like quote rapper, the robot, like is a robot like rapping somewhere in a room by itself? Like, do they kill it? Like, this is a really, what happens now? What
Mike, are you laughing at the picture
I just looked at the second picture.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Jessica.
I'm so... This one actually feels like inappropriate to show.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it did to your arms here. It looks like Laffy Taffy.
I'm like the Vitruvian Man. I don't know why I have so many arms.
I'm going to just show the face again. No one has been done dirtier by this AI service than Jess Smetana.
That first
so
one
funny.
still.
It's
I'm
so
not
bad.
sending you guys mine because I know this is a family friendly podcast, so excuse me. It tried to make me look like a porn star in every single one. I sent only
that's the
pictures
thing.
of like shoulders up, and then it just gave me huge boobs falling out of my
Huge
shirt in
boobs.
every, and I was like,
Charlotte, yes, same. It's like puckering the lips,
Yeah.
and it's doing like this like jawline, cheekbone thing, giving everyone huge boobs. The guys that I work with look jacked in all of
this
theirs, and
robot's
I'm
a
like,
perv, you guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
robot is really horny.
This robot needs to.
Maybe the robot is like a person in that it really just needs to find a connection with someone to release some of its tension.
That is true. We
Maybe
need
the
the
robot
AI
should
from
have just
her to
gone
come
on
into this
Tinder.
situation.
Right.
Yeah, right? Exactly. You need to find another robot to match with this robot
Yeah.
and make it happy so it stops being pervy. To
What
all
would
people
the
sending in their
robot
pictures?
Match? What would the robot dating app be called? Like when robot to robot.
Well, I think that it's tough because this is already taken up by another service, but iHeart would be a really great one.
Oh.
Like instead of iHeartMedia, if you could take that and make it a robot dating service, I'd feel pretty good about that.
AI heart.
Oh.
About that.
There it is.
About that. Oh my God. I do feel like this is also going to eventually be the way that they name bowl games in college football's bowl
Oh my
season.
gosh.
We can
Thank
only
you for
hope.
bringing up college football. I would love that. First of all, I need to ask the college football fans in the room, is Drake May transferring? Is that happening now? Are we seeing what's happening?
I'm not sure because like obviously Drake's like the whole thing with him was always, and I saw there were a couple of fake tweets that were floating around originally
Yes.
saying that he was entering the transfer portal, and we've reached that portion of the college football news cycle here. But his thing has always been his family has been a North Carolina family, and all the ties were so deep there. But now that we've got Phil Longo, his offensive coordinator, going to Wisconsin, which holy weird fit alert, Batman.
It-
I went and crunched the numbers on this for Wisconsin, just what we think of Wisconsin, like big burly folks doing fat people wonderful things. I went and looked at it on True Media, and Wisconsin, or last year, North Carolina snaps of 11 personnel, so one tight end, one running back on the field, like lighter personnel. They used 790 snaps of 11 personnel. It was the fourth highest in FBS. Wisconsin had 265 snaps of 11 personnel. They were 119th in FBS. They're fullbacks and tight ends. What is this going to look like? This is not the cheese curd shit we grew up on.
That's one of the reasons that I'm confused.
Well,
Because I listened to Shar.
No.
I listened to several Notre Dame fans speculate that Wisconsin could be a good place for Drew Pine to transfer because he's smaller. He is, all of the things about Drew Pine.
He very much fits what a Wisconsin quarterback is.
Yeah,
in our
he doesn't
brain.
run. He's an okay passer.
so he's just not. Yeah. He's just not.
I don't want it to sound like I'm saying he's not good at football because he played very well in certain
He's not
games this
not
season,
good at football.
Right.
He just could be Wisconsin version of good at football.
He's got a kink, which is heavy run game, play action quarterback who can operate all that.
And good offensive line in front of him
Yes.
certainly is something that he needs. But I'm like, okay, it seems like they're going for a completely different offensive identity than the one that Wisconsin has had for decades.
Well, 11 minutes ago, Drake May tweeted, "Could never leave this place. I'm a Tar Heel," with the handshake emoji.
Okay, Shar. That
Wow.
honestly, that does it for me. He's not transferring.
I mean,
they're dropping a bag at his house tonight, though.
Oh my God.
He has a reason to tweet that. I don't think you can transfer after you tweet that, though, right? Like, I mean, you can.
I mean, it could be the dreaded vote of confidence, though.
That is true.
Wait, what?
I have the utmost confidence.
That?
Well, like in sports, anytime an owner comes out and gives a coach or a GM, it's like, hey, we have the utmost confidence and we're not going to make any change. Usually like 4 weeks later, they're gone. So
it's like Judas kissing Jesus at the Garden of Gethsemane. And it's like, a few days later, we all know what's going to happen. That kiss meant more than, it appeared at the time.
My favorite one of those
ever. It was only a kiss.
My favorite one of those ever was when Steve Keim said about Josh Rosen, he goes, "He is definitely our quarterback right now for sure." And everyone's like, "Oh, this kid's gone."
Well, and the Cardinals put out the graphic that had that on it too, which was also like, didn't the Bears do that, Jess, at one point?
Your Bears? Yes. Your Chicago Bears?
I think they did that like 3 different times with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky, actually. Like in the same season, if I'm remembering correctly.
It was so bad. But that Drake May thing would have been interesting because I think a lot of people right now, Jess, you and I have talked about this off air before. I feel like a lot of places right now, when they go after coordinators, are banking on that potential idea that you can get a quarterback or some of the players to follow who have had success with a certain coordinator and a certain offense.
Yeah, I mean,
certainly.
Look at USC. Everyone, it's like the trend of, something works, and then everyone's like, "Oh, let's get a guy to get all of his guys." And I don't know if that'll happen as much. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's like Pitt. I mean, Pitt with Phil Dracovic too. I think the Drake May thing, I've heard several college football reporters say that it would have broken the transfer portal and like completely melted down all the NIL deals happening right now because of how valuable he would be in the portal. But yeah, I think it makes sense for him to stay. I hope he can still like earn some compensation in NIL staying. I'm sure he will be able to. It can't be that difficult, but
no, I'm sure he can. I mean,
that tweet must have made him a bunch of money on its own.
That or like maybe he just I don't know. Maybe he really loves the shit out of North Carolina. Like,
that's still. I mean, players still care about like the things that we don't really talk about so much anymore, which is like they might have a connection to a school. They might have a lot of friends at a school. They might have grown up wanting to graduate from a school or play at a school. If you dangle $5 million in front of them, they might not love it quite as much as that idea. But there are still like certain things that, he probably grew up wanting to go there and play there and doesn't want to give it all up just to play at like Wisconsin or another Power 5 school that he doesn't really have any sort of connection with. Like if things are going good at North Carolina, which they went pretty well this season for him, I mean, not so great for the team. Why try to change it?
It is interesting to think about for a quarterback losing your coordinator though, because that was the point I made last year when it came to Jordan Addison leaving Pitt. That was obviously NIL was a big part of that conversation, but then you also tried to line up reasons why he would have stayed at Pitt when his quarterback went to the NFL, his offensive coordinator went down to Nebraska. And his wide receiver coach also left. Like all of them took lateral positions.
And his head coach hated the offense that made them ACC champions.
No, just hated offense. Just hated offense, period.
Yeah, continued to talk shit about all of the good things they did in 2021 well into this season. Like Jordan Addison made a very smart decision in transferring because that would have been probably a weird thing for him to stay amidst all of those moves, like you said.
It does bring up with all of the guys in the transfer portal, and obviously we know opt-outs have been rampant. Are you guys excited for bowl season still? Are there things about this that you're looking forward to outside of the Final Four and some of the New Year's Six games? Like Tulane and USC is exciting. The Rose Bowl is always something that people look forward to, but I don't know about the rest of it. Is it still drawing you in the same?
I mean, I think that once the games are happening, it probably will. I think, to be honest, the idea of it isn't. I guess I just start to, beyond like the tradition of college football, what's the incentive for these players? I mean, I guess for a lot of them, it's the things that we were saying that we don't talk about wanting to do it. But when you have the transfer portal and when you have guys who are like, well, I'm not going to put my whole NFL career at risk or even next season at risk, I don't know. It starts to, I don't think I would play.
Well,
is that awful? I don't know.
No, I mean, I think there's a lot of incentive for younger players. I think it kind of depends on which bowl you play in. Like, if you have to go somewhere where it's cold or there's not a ton of like fun amenities, you're not getting that much swag, you're not getting paid a lot. Yeah, I could see why it would be like, all right, can the season just end already? We want to spend the holidays with our families. But I do, and Mike, you can speak to like, you played in a variety of different bowl games, so you can speak more to that experience. But I think now that players are entering the portal like the weekend after or the Monday after the season ends, it's a good opportunity for like freshmen, sophomore, juniors to actually get practices in and like get a chance to play. I don't know if that, it's a competitive game. I don't know if it like matters that much anymore to like be the footnote on the end of your season like it might have a few years ago, but it does seem like a better situation than like, unless you're one of the top 4 teams or a New Year's Six team, your season just ends, the first week of December or the last week of November if you're not in a conference championship game.
Yeah, I think it's just the first spring football game now is essentially what these games have become. It's a bunch of young, like I always said, my favorite part of bowl practice when I got to be an older player was the best 3 words, young guy scrimmage, where you'd basically go out there and do individuals as an upperclassman, and then they would just let the freshmen and sophomores go out there and do full contact scrimmages and go get good work. Now that's just the entire thing. And instead of the spring season where you have the same amount of practices, like you get 15 extra practices for both, the spring season, you go out there and have a glorified scrimmage where no one wants to get hurt because you're playing against your own team and you're right on the cusp of summer break. For this one, it's a chance to get live reps. I think it could be interesting also to see if, because opt-outs are becoming so much more the norm and because a lot of high-end guys are hitting the portal, if this changes at all the way that some staffs, especially of teams that are out of playoff contention pretty quick, manage the guy's red shirt, because you get those 4 games to play around with while still having a red shirt. And so if you save one of those for the bowl game, you can get a true freshman who is then going to be a redshirt freshman, a full bit of action as one of your key pieces, with them being basically a starter and getting to prepare like a starter, which is a totally different workload and work week for those guys. It's all great practice in that way. So Jess, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not the cap on the season anymore. It's not it's not as much sending your seniors out on the right note and all the things that we used to talk about. It's a lot more, hey, you got a chance to start to set yourself up for what comes next and get live reps that are really important for guys.
I mean, from like the Notre Dame fans' perspective, I think it's like a great opportunity for Tyler Buckner and for Steve Angeli now to get, be in a little bit of a quarterback competition for the bowl game and be playing against, South Carolina. And this is another aspect of the bowls that I like. You get to see non-conference matchups that you don't usually get to see. Well, like Notre Dame doesn't really play South Carolina ever. So I think that will be fun to see. It's fun to like go against a new set of fans that, you haven't bickered with on the internet yet. Mike, I'm looking. So you played in the Sun Bowl, right?
Yes. So I played
the Champ Sports Bowl, which is now the Cheez-It Bowl. That's the one in Orlando. And then obviously the BCS Bowl, but you didn't get to play in the Pinstripe Bowl. That was after you left.
I also got to play my true freshman year. We played in the Hawaii Bowl. So we played in...
Oh, you were on the Hawaii Bowl team.
Mike.
Buddy, let me tell you.
Tell us about the Hawaii Bowl.
Buddy.
Great Notre Dame Bowl game.
Oh, the Hawaii Bowl, start to finish, was my favorite bowl experience, bar none. That includes the national... Because the national championship's not fun. You're focused on actually like having to practice hard and do things by the books. And for us, the game was in Miami, but we were staying in Hollywood, Florida. Alabama got to stay at LaFontainebleau, so they had to live in there and all that stuff. They had the fun time and got the rings. It was really sad. But the Hawaii
where did you stay? Where did you stay in Miami?
We stayed in Hollywood.
Where even is that?
It's like 45 minutes north. Yeah. It's
It's close to the stadium, though.
It's close to the stadium, and it's away. We were the 1 seed, so if you're at that point in the BCS title, the 1 seed got to choose the hotel, and so our coaches didn't want us near downtown.
That's
didn't want us
Notre
near
Dame.
We switched hotels the night before the game just to get everyone away from like the fray too. There were a lot of moving parts to that. That's why the Hawaii Bowl was way better. All they warned us
Notre
about
Dame lost the hotel situation.
Yeah, that's why we lost.
Tell me about Hawaii, though.
The thing I remember most, and one of my favorite things about Hawaii, was on the front end, the security team that was giving us the brief on the plane told us to keep an eye out for people that were going to sell us bunk weed. They're they're going to try and put oregano and glue in a bag and sell it to you guys.
Did anyone fall for it?
No, none of my friends at least bought
names.
Bought real weed or fake weed, but there was also back then the best part about bowl. So like it changed when I was in college, but it used to be every part of bowl season that was the best was you booked your own travel to the bowl site. Because usually you got to go home for a little bit before then. Some places, if you're staying and it's close enough, you'll take the team charter like normal. But in this case, you used to book your own travel. And so you were given, based off of where you put your home at, a certain dollar amount for the travel to book. And then your goal every time was to book it for the cheapest possible and then pocket the rest of all that. And you get money on top of it. I went to, so we got like $500 in bowl money for that one. And I went and blew all of it at Armani Exchange when I got in there. My fat ass bought like 3 Armani Exchange shirts and a wallet that lasted me like 6 years.
Mike, what kind of shirt? Like black button downs?
No, like obnoxious t-shirts that had like the checkered pattern that said Armani Exchange.
That
one
really
with a
tracks.
big AE.
That really tracks with what you looked like at the time. And I mean that somewhat disrespectfully, but I think you've evolved a lot since.
It should be disrespectfully because I was wearing that while wearing cargo shorts with a rope belt.
Rope?
Like the one that Belco's like football belts that they sell at American Eagle. That was my lower half. And the belt thing was hanging by like a foot. It was
That's
horrific.
So 2009 though. Were the shorts from Hollister or like Abercrombie? Yeah.
I wore those shits to a club at the Atlantis in the Bahamas 2 years later. Yes.
Michael.
Though the idea that I was sexually active at all in college is against all odds.
I don't think anyone believes that to be true.
No, I know. Based on my description, they shouldn't. But
also, Duloc, please. Don't incriminate yourself.
First off, how dare you've already got my 12 wins. You can't take away my degree now. It's too late. The rest of the Hawaii Bowl did kick ass though, because we went to Luau's. Outback Steakhouse is one of the sponsors, so all the luau's were catered by Outback. We got to go hang out by the beach. Coach Weiss gave us a whole day one day to just go surf and fuck around.
That's
and then
amazing.
The day before the game, you go out and do before practice. It's called pat and go, where the quarterbacks throw to the receivers. Coach Weiss switched the warm-ups for everyone, so all the skill players went and did the O-line, D-line warm-ups, and we got to go fuck around and do that. And then Jimmy Clausen and Golden had a career day, so we beat the shit out of Hawaii and had a great time. It was the best week. I was a redshirt freshman. It was paid vacation for me.
That sounds
I don't know why you're saying all these like things now that are making me confused about Charlie Weiss and my feelings towards him, but it sounds like a great time. How many of these shenanigans are players like still actively engaged in bowl games? Like this is still like the situation, right? Because I think a lot of times we forget that like they're going on fun team trips, and depending on what team or what coach you play for, like there's probably not that many rules in place, and there's probably not that many serious practices around the game.
Oh, yeah. Usually you get all the serious practice done the week before. You do the full install usually the week before you get there. So you're just re-going over it during that week. Because the first 3 nights of the week, there's usually no curfew. That's how it was most often for us. And you just went. When we went to the Sun Bowl in El Paso, we were right across the border from Juarez, Mexico. And that was one where all in the lead up, our security team is like, if you go over there, you will, like they were trying to put the fear of God at us. It was like the thing. It was like from Mean Girls. It's like, if you have sex, you will get gonorrhea and you will die. It's like if you go over to Juarez, you will get sent back to your family cut up in a suitcase. Like, and
oh my God.
it was it was awesome because going out there, everyone in El Paso, I tell anyone who goes to the Sun Bowl, nicest people in the world. The folks in El Paso roll out the red carpet for the teams that come there, unlike very few places that you go. And we just went to the three-legged monkey and got absolutely blasted for the first couple nights of that week.
See, this surprises me, to be honest. Like, I guess you, Mike, you played college football. Jess, you went to a school that legitimately has college football.
I was a bowl game groupie. Like, I went to all the bowl games.
Right.
Which ones did you get to go to, Jess? Sorry, after you, Charlotte.
No. I just feel like I have this idea of college football being so strict all the time, and I'm loving this. Like, this is making me so happy hearing that you can have fun. Like, what a concept.
No, bowl games are a shit show. Honestly, they're great.
I didn't know that from the players' side of things.
Mike, I went to the Fiesta Bowl in 2015. That's the only one that I remember like super vividly because it was on New Year's Day and my phone got stolen at the Bottle Blonde the night before.
You've told me about the Fiesta Bowl.
It was like it was a complete shit show, and the game kicks off at 11 a.m. local time on New Year's Day. So you have to leave like your hotel at like 8 a.m. to get a parking spot, which is ridiculous. So me and this was my senior year. So like me and all my friends went, and we were so painfully hungover. And the Fiesta Bowl is cool, and like, you know, there's great amenities. It's known for treating like reporters really well if you go. But we were in the Notre Dame student ticket section doing push-ups, and there weren't very many push-ups done in that game because that was the year that Ohio State barely missed the playoff. They were like probably the best, if not the second best college football team that season. And they had Ezekiel Elliott, and they were incredible. And Joey Bosa, before the targeting penalty in that game, Jalen Smith got hurt. It was like a nasty game, but we got threatened to get kicked out for doing the touchdown push-ups. And so like I was there with like several Notre Dame athletes, like student athletes, and they were in a heated battle with security guards. And I was like, I really don't want this to end up like in the Observer on Monday. We need to de-escalate the situation. But at the same time, I'm like, it's our last game. Like, we're seniors. We want to do push-ups. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It was fun. Fiesta Bowl.
This all does, sir. I was at that Fiesta Bowl game. I had nothing but tequila for breakfast that day.
It was so gross. I'm like, why is this so early? It would have been so much fun had it been like even a noon kickoff, but like 11 a.m. I was feeling so ill when I got to that stadium.
Anyone listening to this should just keep this in mind as you bet college football's bowl season.
I was just going to say this. I was just going to say, Mike, I was literally about to say this. This is why it's so hard to predict these games and why I love doing bowl pick'ems, because you can look at the spread, you can look at a team's win and loss records, you can look at who's left for the portal and which coaches have gone elsewhere, but you have no idea like what level the team is at that's going into that game. And there's like always like Notre Dame fans will remember a few years ago when they played Iowa State in the Camping World Bowl. There was a report out like the week of the game that Notre Dame was like practicing really badly. And like, I think Pete Sampson like wrote like, you know, he didn't think like they were going to win and all this stuff. Notre Dame ended up stomping Iowa State in that game. But I know a lot of Notre Dame fans that probably read that and were like, okay, maybe I'll pick, you know, Iowa State or I'll take the points or whatever. But like, you just don't know. It's impossible to really gauge it just from what information is out there.
Right. And just because they have curfew late in the week does not mean guys are following it. Like, yes. You can get out. I wasn't one that ever felt comfortable doing that because my station on the team was never that secure and I didn't play well home. I will say, though, one year during bowl practice, I showed up to one practice violently hungover and had by far my best practice of bowl season after that game.
There you go.
You know,
I felt like I was on PEDs. So it is possible to get away with that, but you got to know. You got to know.
I have a theory that if you're in your 20s or if you're young, sometimes being hungover can be a superpower. Like I think I wrote my best articles in my 20s when I was very hungover, and now I can't be hungover because I feel like I'm going to die. But I think there's something very real to that.
That's fascinating. I know that there's also like a number of tricks that college football coaches to do to like make sure the players are actually respecting curfew. Like they'll do the tape over the door, or like
Mhm.
there was a report that Marcus Freeman was checking on all the players before curfew. I think it was before the Southern Cal game,
Yep.
which like, yes, memes were made about Marcus Freeman doing bedtime checks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bed check used to be hilarious for some guys. Brandon actually used to always, him and we've told this story on the podcast before, but because usually it's not the head coach, usually it's like a player ops guy or GAs that are going around.
Someone who's probably also going to sneak out and go out for some drinks.
I would say the ones that are like coaches have their own rooms. Like there's usually a room in the hotel where coaches can go and have a good time. Like bowl season's fun for everybody, but they're no, Brandon and I think it was Tyler Stockton used to like put on little performances when the person would come in for bed check during bowl practice, because it was more nights than usual. Yeah, where they would like walk in and one of them would have the other hog tied with the phone cord from the phone in the room, or like someone would be like bound and gagged, like hopping towards the door. It was incredible.
That's amazing. I love that.
Those are good memories. Well, I don't know if Charlotte, if you've ever defied a curfew or like snuck out or have any sneak out stories, but it seems like some sort of shenanigan that you'd be up to at like one of your like summer camps or one of your sailing camps or something like that.
The problem is that Jess has known me for way too long. So I
know you've done something like this.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm trying to, see, the thing is that I think I didn't really have the curfews to begin with. I think I just sort of blew through
your own curfew.
Yeah, and I think my parents sort of gave up, and then like Colby College. Come on, you're in the middle of Maine. There's nothing to do but like.
I like how you said Colby. I love how you said Colby College. Like Colby everyone College would immediately recognize you guys were like a bunch of leather jacket wearing badasses.
Yeah. The people up there. No, it's more of that there's just literally nothing to do, and it's freezing cold and dark the whole time. So it's like people will, talk about going to like big party schools, or I think assume that the smaller schools are maybe somehow less of a shit show, but I think it's really the inverse. I think that when there's really nothing to do, and like we didn't have bowl games to go to, we had the Colby Bates Bowdoin, like who's the best football team in Maine? Like, come on, D3 football in Maine. It was really a beautiful thing, you guys.
Oh, can I tell you guys what's a beautiful thing that I'm looking forward to?
Yes.
So I saw this tweet from Chris Vanini over at The Athletic. The Music City Bowl, Iowa and Kentucky. I believe it's been dubbed the Sickos Bowl for this year. And Chris tweeted out. What?
I was going to say, Will Levis is leaving for the NFL.
So. Wow.
Yeah, out of there.
Wow.
Chris summed it up very well. 2 offenses outside of the top 100 in scoring, 2 top 15 scoring defenses. Iowa's on their 3rd string quarterback. Kentucky's going to be on their backup quarterback. And there's also not going to be very many 1st string receivers left. This game is going to be incredible. I think the over-under set at 32 right now, and you couldn't pay me to touch the over.
Or the defenses are just going to score every time they get on the field.
Iowa's already, that would be the Iowa touchdown, right?
Yeah, that would be the
But it'll just keep happening so many times that they'll hit the over.
Iowa's already been a part of a game that went under 32 points this season. So they've got it in them. And Lord knows.
Was that the Illinois game?
Yep.
That was so.
And Iowa won that game.
I know.
Do you guys know what
was the 9-6 game?
Like the record for touchdowns by defense in a college football game is?
I don't
Not off the top of my head.
I don't offhand. No, that feels like something that could be extremely Iowa. Although scoring a full 6 or 7 points, also not something they're fully in. I think they would prefer the safeties because it's a symbol of defensive dominance without all the highfalutin points.
Yeah, you don't want a guy to have to run far in any phase of the ball. You're Iowa. You're just grunting and punching the ball out of the quarterback's hand in the end zone.
The other thing that I'm really bummed we're not going to get, grunting and punching could be the name of this podcast. The other thing I'm bummed we're not going to get is in the Fenway Bowl. Now that we've had the coaching change go on for Louisville and Cincinnati, because it was supposed to reignite the Keg and Nails bowl game and all that stuff. And now you've got Louisville's coach taking the head coaching job at Cincinnati. Jeff Brohm just left Purdue and announced that he's getting ready to go back to his old stomping grounds and be the head coach of Louisville. None of them are coaching the bowl game. And I wanted so badly for Scott Satterfield to coach both teams in this game.
Yes, I'm sad. So he said he's like recusing himself, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
he said
what is
he's
it?
going to
Is
go.
he a Supreme
He's
Court
opting out?
justice or something? Like this is ridiculous. Like pick a side. You have to just pick a side.
Yeah.
But it's like no matter what you do, it makes one of your teams make you look worse. Like
Yes.
if Louisville finishes the season with one more loss, like it might not be on his record, but it's on their season record, and that will be attributed to him. And if Cincinnati loses, it also will make him look bad if that's the team that he decides he's coaching.
Oh, it's a full-on lose-lose situation for him, but it's a lose-lose for us that he's not doing it.
100%.
It's
This
stupid.
is, I mean, that's been that situation all year long for Louisville. By the way, did you guys see the text message that Jeff Brohm supposedly sent to the Purdue team that came out?
No. Did it start with what did it start with men? That's what Brian Kelly's did.
No, this one started actually
Men.
even a little bit funnier.
How?
So this one started, "Hello guys," which I don't know why.
That's so Midwest. That's so Midwest.
It
How
was
do you
so
do, fellow
good.
kids, is what that sounds like.
Hey,
That's
guys.
that's what I felt like, Charlotte.
Yeah.
The how do you do, fellow kids?
Hello, guys.
No, the guys as a pronoun for like any person is very Midwest. Cause like obviously people in the South say y'all. People in the Midwest, we say you guys. And you call everyone you guys. Like if I'm talking to my parents, I'll call them you guys. If I'm talking to my friends' dogs, I'll say you guys. Like everyone becomes you guys. So hey guys or hello guys, that's peak Indiana. I love that.
I think it's also New Englandy because guys is there's no y'all.
Use guys,
but
right?
yeah, the New York. I don't think though. I think to me, hello guys is like formal, and then it's like the mullet of greetings.
It definitely is, because watch how
Business
this
in
goes.
the front, party in the back.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
because
guys.
watch how this goes after. Like this is just even more Midwestern energy. Hello, guys.
If you're sending that text message, like we've all sent a text message where you're like, I don't know how to start this, and you're like, hi, hey, what's up? Like, how do you start that text message? Because now we have a hello, guys, and we have a men from Brian Kelly, and both of those feel really awkward to me.
I think you go gentlemen.
Gentlemen,
No, I don't know.
fellas,
Hey team.
Folks,
hey boys.
you saw the news.
Hey gang.
just do Joe Biden cosplay, folks. You might have heard the news.
Yeah.
Big things are happening. Good luck to all of you.
Oh, honestly, the big controversy in this text has nothing to do with that. Actually,
Go on.
So we get past that, and he says, "Hey guys, hello guys. I wanted to reach out and inform everyone that I have decided to accept the University of Louisville head football coaching job. While I love Purdue dearly, this time is right for me to go back home. I just spoke to our football team at 1 p.m. today. I will personally reach out to each and every one of you in the next 48 hours to answer any questions." Most people think this was a text sent to recruits because it hints that he met with his team in there. It said, "I met with the team at 1 o'clock."
Yeah, that was confusing.
Wait,
But
is
the
he
best-
not sending this to the team?
No, it sounds like he said he met with the team at 1.
Who's he sending this to? Is it?
I think this is to prospective recruits that might have been committed to him. The real problem in all of this is he said, "I decided to accept EXCEPT."
Oh.
What's worse, that or arson judge?
Arson Judge
Arson
was
Judge.
funny as fuck. I'm sorry. That was some good shit.
Arson
and then
Judge.
we got a Coke Hamels today, didn't we?
We did. So Jon Heyman,
Was that
the
a
MLB
Photoshop?
insider, was the one that put out the arson judge
Coke
tweet,
Hamels.
falsely attributing him to going to the Giants,
Coke
also the Niners.
Hamels.
Do we think Coke Hamels was him playing it up for clicks? Because I feel like he's aware now. Think about any time you've made a mistake like that in public, how dialed in you are for that next attempt. There's no way he gets it wrong, and it's Coke Hamels. Like, where it's
How
an
old is
actual...
he?
I don't know.
I don't want. You know what? I'm not going to be ageist. So
He's got gray hair.
Scratch that.
I feel like in the heat of the moment, you're trying to fire these off real quick. I could see it.
I don't think. Okay, either way, like, do we think this serious baseball reporter is like going to risk people thinking he's an idiot for doing it again by like leaning into a bit? Like,
no,
he's not like Chris Cody. Like, he's not like a Levitard show producer who like knows the best way to get out of something is just to lean in so far that it's not that funny anymore. I don't think that he had. I don't know him personally. I just would be surprised if he had that sort of self-awareness that a lot of, reporters don't really have.
The best way to get people to stop making fun of you is to make fun of yourself so hard that nobody else wants to make fun of you for it. And yes. I think you're right, Jess. I think of all reporters, baseball reporters are the least likely to do that vibe-wise. But if so, it's incredible. If this was intentional,
If so, Meadowlark needs to have already sent this guy a note and said, "Hey,
Coke
baby,
Hamels,
listen,
Arson Judge,
you're all
Arson
kind of
Judge
insider."
Is great.
Arson Judge sounds sort of like you're trying to do an Irish accent, but not
Arson Judge.
But like not understanding how an Irish accent works.
Arson Judge is a judge who just presides over arson cases. Like, it's an actual profession. I don't like. It's kind of maybe he was just texting someone else about something he saw on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
The best meme I saw yesterday was someone said Arson Judge sounds like a daytime CW show.
Yeah,
1,000. Yes, 1,000%.
Awesome.
Yes.
Coke Hamels sounds like
spot on.
Sounds like the guy who got everybody pills at like New England prep schools.
Coke Hamels.
Yeah,
I feel like Coke sounds like one of those like old timey names, like that would have been around in like the 1940s. Like a guy just named Coke. Hey, Cokey, yeah, like Coke Hamels. What's up?
Yeah. Totally. Coke Hamels is voted into the Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee for Major League Baseball. He's the guy that survived.
Yes.
For that long and is voted in after he's already left us. We miss Coke.
There's a baseball writer who's like, I will not vote for Barry Bonds, but Coke Hamels has decision to be in the Hall of Fame.
It wasn't a PED, it was cocaine. There's a difference.
That was okay back then. Everyone was doing
Everything was okay back then.
Right. There's a whole Mets team that we love because they were Coke Hamels.
There's a whole 2013 Red Sox team we love because they were drinking beer in the dugout, so not much has changed. Do you remember that?
Good. No.
Oh, yeah, the Red Sox, like, between games were just getting hammered, and everyone was like, what? They were like, this isn't the 1940s. Anyway.
Oh, my God. Who was was it Mike Napoli, a part of one of those teams that was downtown shirtless after they won one of those championships, just ripping heaters? I will never forget when that picture of Mike Napoli was making the rounds. My mom texted me legitimately and said, "What were you doing in Boston last night?" When I told her that wasn't me, she did not believe me. Are you kidding me? Did not believe me, because at that point I only had
a lot like you though.
I had a half sleeve. I've got a beard. We're both bald guys. Like, it was all there.
And he had an Armani Exchange T-shirt on and cargo pants. Yeah, I sent another AI picture.
Oh,
this one gave me a wide multi-inch gap between my front teeth.
Oh my God!
The computers are not okay.
They're not.
What is that?
The computers are not okay at all. I'm seeing if there's any, not to just derail everything. I'm seeing if there's any that I can send you that aren't.
Wait,
but now Charlotte, I can't find them. Where are they in the app?
I don't even have the app. I just got texted them by our video producer friend Danny.
Oh, here they are. Yeah, no, you can't. None of these are appropriate.
She said absolutely not.
Absolutely
Mike,
not.
to answer your question from several minutes ago, I'm really excited for bowl season, actually.
Jess, you love bowl season so much. Are you still do you still do the pick'ems with your dad and his friends?
I've joined,
or do you have a million different
so many pick'ems?
Yeah.
I'm already in a couple that I haven't picked anything yet. Obviously, that's the other thing. I'm like, when am I going to do this? Because there is news happening by the minute. I don't know who's on what team anymore.
Right.
I need to keep Googling and refreshing.
Do one with a coin flip, like the Jets guy, and then
Seriously.
see, and then match them up.
This is how stupid bowl season is. My brother-in-law has never watched an American football game in his life, and he won our bowl pick'em last year just by picking off vibes. So if he can do that, like, there's really no rhyme or reason.
Pick off the vibes, Jess. Just like.
See, this is people always complain about expanding the playoffs because they want what March Madness is for basketball. Bowl season is March Madness. There is no rhyme or reason.
Yep.
As much basketball as you think you've studied leading up to the tournament, you're never going to pick it 100% right based off that because it's too random. That is what bowl season is. It's an opportunity for complete and total anarchy.
Couldn't agree more. Love it.
I also think that there are people that don't watch like Group of Five or like, you know, teams that aren't ranked. And then they'll watch like Troy and UTSA in the Cure Bowl. Or like Troy was really good this season in the Sun Belt. And they'll be like, no, you know, like who cares about that team? And I'm like, that team's better than like half of the SEC teams that you root for. And everyone is just like blind to brand names, and it makes me sad. There's so much good football in the bowl games. Well, maybe not good football, but there's so much football.
It is.
Sometimes it's good.
It's comfort food, right? It's just always there. It doesn't have to be great. It's on. I maintain that if the NFL just put on the Red Zone slate that plays before the start of the Red Zone on Sunday, it would rate in the top 100 for the year of broadcasts.
Oh, 1,000%.
I came out of the bedroom on a few Sundays ago, and my boyfriend was sitting in front of the Red Zone waiting music and logo, and
just sitting there.
I'm gonna check with him if it's okay that I say this after I say this, but he was just sitting there watching the precursor to Red Zone with the like
and his
warrior
hand was
music.
In his pants.
No.
Bring me Scott Hansen.
I think it was a bit, but there was then he got up and saluted the TV. It was it was an incredible bit.
Hey, when the countdown clock gets up there.
Oh, I love the countdown.
God damn.
They started doing on Red Zone now like a really long, they'll show like the pre-show now. Longer than they used to. So I never catch the countdown anymore. The countdown used to be like 10 minutes before, or like even shorter, I think. But now it's like way before.
You gotta put it on way earlier than you think.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm still trying to wake up at that point in my Sunday. I'm not ready to sit down yet in front of Red Zone.
If I were an athlete, I would listen to the Red Zone countdown music before a game.
Ooh.
Just sit there with that on your earbuds.
Yeah.
Getting in the zone.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good pump up song.
Mm-hmm.
Is Scott Hansen a legitimate celebrity now?
Yeah.
I'm a Siciliano guy.
Ooh. Interesting.
Ooh,
I love Andrew. Great guy. Awesome dude. Have never watched the DirecTV Red Zone.
Me neither. I couldn't tell you.
I've been on the DirecTV Sunday ticket wave for a few years because I got to watch my out of market Steelers games and spend $5,000 a month to do so. Actually, though, I do have the student discount rate right now, so it's much more cost effective.
Stop it.
You should bleep that out because I don't want people to. But they're gone. Like DirecTV's not doing it after this year, so it's fine. They can.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
go have fun somewhere else. I don't know where it's going to be, but. Yeah, if you live out of market, you have to watch the full game. Like you have to pay them extra money. It's the sad reality.
Yeah. Although
worth every penny, though.
The Red Zone, I think Scott Hansen is a modern marvel of a human. I'll sit there. I'll talk to Scott. Scott will say something, and I'll be like, "That's right, Scott." And every once in a while, he tosses a joke in there, and I'm like, "Oh, Scott."
Scott.
He just has a real understanding for the moment. When he came out of the witching hour that one weekend, I forget if it was last year or the year before, and we had like 3 overtime games, and we were all just crushing up and snorting football off the table, and Scott just looked at the camera and went, "Football." That was all he had to say. That was all he had to say because he knew we were right here.
Audience. Yeah, when we were having that debate about like who should take over hosting Jeopardy, and everyone was like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers," blah blah blah. I'm like, it should be alternating between Andrew Siciliano and Scott Hansen because those guys can read a question, they've got the inflection down, and they understand how to make a moment tense, how to lay out. They know exactly what they can shuffle between multiple players, multiple screens. Like they know exactly what they're doing. They would be perfect for that job.
That's an incredible call.
It's the only thing that combines being a live play-by-play and a studio host. No one else has to do that. He's essentially doing both jobs at once. He's a 5-tool player.
I couldn't do either. It's impossible.
Oh, I absolutely would. This is what would happen. I would just stop talking.
That's always my favorite thing to wonder. And I've talked to Scott about this. And he does not. Well, and like I think he's been on with with you guys on Lebatard, Jess. He doesn't pee during the 7 hours of commercial-free football. He dehydrates. We
don't do either during our show because we never take breaks. So I do empathize with him on that. It's not a fun thing to not pee for several hours.
Here's the question, though: are we sure he really, really doesn't? Because there'll be times where there'll be like a minute and he hasn't talked, and he definitely could have peed in that minute.
I get mad when that happens. There was probably a 10-minute stretch like last weekend or 2 weekends ago where Siciliano just didn't say a word.
Same. I'm like, where are you?
And are you still there? I was like, this isn't what I'm paying for. I need some commentary. I need something. Give me something.
Scott laid off, laid out for a little bit.
He laid out for too long. Yeah. I was like, did he get lunch break? Did you get a snack?
That's why I was like, I think you might.
There should be 2 screens up. You should be switching between the one and the other and then put up a third. And then
so you guys don't like when we get to the 4 o'clock window like last weekend and we got shit flying everywhere and they're 1-score games when they just pull back a little bit and let it breathe. You want them in there.
I want Scott to talk the entire time.
No, look, I just don't want a pause long enough where I have to think, did I accidentally turn off Red Zone and turn on a game? I need constant reassurance that I'm on the right channel. And that goes for anything that I'm watching. I need the TV to tell me I am where I'm supposed to be.
That is true. It's Red Zone Inception. You're down for so long in this 7-hour hole. Because does it happen to you guys where you're in there watching for so long and all of a sudden you like look around you and the whole room's dark because you haven't gotten up in hours and you're kind of disoriented?
Every single weekend Saturday of this entire year, that has happened to me.
And then your TV's like, are you still watching? And you're like, do you not know me by now?
Right. Just going all the way back to AI.
Yeah,
the AI on my TV should know Sunday. Yeah. You already know when I walk out of my house, like, oh, Mike, it's this time on this day. You're going to the grocery store or you're going here. Here's how to get there. My TV should know on Sunday, I'm going to sit here for 7 hours on this one channel and you're going to like it.
Mm-hmm. Our TVs are supposed to be smart. They haven't gotten smarter. And that little button with like, oh, do you want to continue watching will always pop up at the worst time. I'll be like sitting on one leg, painting my nails with like a piece of bread in my mouth. And it'll ask me, and I'll have to take my big toe and put it across the entire coffee table and click the one middle button to continue watching because I can't do it with my hands because I'm busy. And it's such a pain in my ass. I hate that shit. Get out of here. Of course I'm still watching. I'm an American. We're addicted to screens and television and energy consumption and content consumption. I am still watching.
That's what I'm saying. We need to weaponize the AI. I don't need weird portraits of Jess Smetana that don't look anything like her. What I need is my TV to anticipate my Red Zone related needs each and every weekend.
I just don't understand how if they can learn how to, make music, they can't learn how to tell when you're still going to be enjoying a program.
Do you think they're ever going to make AI Scott Hansen?
I was just about to say that. Do you think they're going to make an AI Red Zone host? Wow, that was creepy.
What if they make an AI GoJo? But they're going to do it and they're not going to tell us. Oh, and then one day we're going to be like, it's a robot.
It's like Westworld. What if it's been a robot the whole time?
Oh, God.
All robots.
Yes. A simulation theory podcast with my friends Jess and Charlotte. What a time.
Yeah. Excuse me. That was not intentional. I just choked on my own.
I thought you were about to plug. I thought you were about to plug something.
Oh no, I'm about to tell you.
By the way, check out my show.
No, I'm not. I'm not plugging anything. I'm telling you the celebrity sighting I had today.
Oh, you know what? Let's bacon wrap this in something. As we round out the show, we usually do a segment called This, That, and the Third.
Great.
With 3 little stories to end the show. And I wanted to have Charlotte's celebrity encounter in a part of this. As always, this is a reminder point for everyone to download, subscribe, rate, and review this wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Brandon also normally sings an intro for this. And he's been
you have to sing it.
And he's been doing Christmas music. Do you guys have any good Christmas songs?
Oh, have you guys seen that TikTok, the John Lennon, Paul McCartney TikTok about Christmas music?
No.
Okay, it's like the Beatles. Okay, so it's the first time is the guy doing like a John Lennon impression, and he's like John Lennon doing a Christmas song, and it's like, it's Christmas time, people are dying, go fuck yourself. And then he's like Paul McCartney doing a Christmas song, and he's like, sing something I can't remember the words, but it's like super goofy, and he's like, Uncle Danny's got a new jumper or some bullshit. That's my favorite new Christmas song. I'm sending it to you guys. It's good. It's gold. Someone listening to this has seen it and they're like, yes.
Finally,
it's gonna be on everyone's algorithms.
I feel so seen.
I just like the one where, who was it? Camila Cabello, she sings It's Christmas. Have you seen that on TikTok? She says, Merry Christmas.
I don't think so.
Oh my God, she literally says that. Merry Christmas. And it's like, what?
Mice?
Moist. It sounds like moist.
Moist?
Like
moist.
Christmas. Well, we can trade Christmas TikTok.
I like it. Okay, well, that's your song for the week, GoJo.
Yeah, there you go, Mike.
All right, well, I don't know how to sing either of those, so maybe I'll do Jingle Bells for this one. Does that work?
Sure.
Technically, you guys have more of a winter song than a Christmas song. But as a Jewish person, I appreciate the non-denominational nature.
We are celebrating all holidays around here at GoJo Show on Twitter. If you've got Jewish holiday songs, anything for Hanukkah, anything for any other denomination or religion celebrating the holidays here, feel free to send those ideas along. Will you guys sing Jingle Bells with me? I kind of need help. It's not one where I can sing and sound good. It's more of a chorus.
A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jingle
bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Wait, I sang the wrong one.
What did you sing?
I sang the Mean Girls one.
She sang Jingle Bell Rock.
I think that counts, Mike.
There we go. Add this, that, and the third on the end of that one, and away we go. Let's start with this. All right, Charlotte, you have a celebrity encounter that you wanted to tell us about here. I've been waiting all day to hear this now. So who did you see?
Yeah, and this is one where you're not going to be disappointed. Like, I have not overhyped this at all. I never get smoothies. Don't know why. Forget they exist. Today.
I love a celebrity encounter story that starts with, I never get smoothies.
Never.
Just to demonstrate how crazy this was.
Yeah, let me tell you guys. Not a smoothie
I never get smoothies, and you're not going to believe this. Okay, so today, for some reason, I'm like, I really want a smoothie. And there's this great bodega, like, a few blocks away. And I live in South Brooklyn. Like, there are famous people who live here, but they're like the sort of like Peter Sarsgaard and Maggie Gyllenhaal type famous people. Like,
yeah, which is super fucking famous.
Yeah, very
but
famous.
also like look like if you
there
walk by them,
people that live here, but they're extremely famous.
But they look like Brooklyn people. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
They're famous people cosplaying Brooklyn people.
Yeah,
they blend
in. They blend in with regular people.
Yeah, exactly. And so I walk into this bodega to get a smoothie. I get my smoothie. As I'm leaving, Logan Roy walks into this random bodega and starts looking at the chips, and his driver, who's like clearly a Teamster driver because he has like his little union card hanging around his neck, Brian Cox is like standing looking at the chips, and this driver is standing with his back to Brian Cox's back looking out at the bodega like a bodyguard. Like, don't. And he was in like his Succession costume. He had like a
Were they filming by you?
I couldn't find. I sort of walked around like looking to see if they were. Maybe they were driving to like the next location, but that was a big one.
That's a big one.
Thank you.
That is a big one.
Thank you so much. Your validation is really important to me.
Did you feel compelled to try and muster up your best fuck off?
Yeah, and then I spent the walk back being like, I want some potato chips, and like doing a
I had actually a pretty legit celebrity sighting last time I was in New York too.
What was it?
I was walking down the sidewalk. My boyfriend, I should add, grew up in Manhattan, so he tends to be a jerk to me when I'm like, oh my god, there was a celebrity walk, because he'll be like, yeah, like I don't care. Like
No,
I
it's
literally
huge.
grew up in Manhattan.
I live
and I'm
for
like, okay,
I live for it.
cool. Like we've walked past so many famous people, and I've been like, oh, was that Emily Ratajkowski? And he's like, stop, just like it's okay. And like, was that Nick Jonas? He'll be like, Jess, like keep walking. And so, anyways, we're walking down the sidewalk. He's not paying attention. I'm just like walking straight ahead, and I look, and I'm like, it's Claire Danes. Claire Danes just walked by. Claire Danes. And Lee was just like, okay. And I was like, Claire Danes.
That's
It's
huge.
Claire Danes. It was Claire Danes, by the way. That was who the celebrity was.
It's Claire Danes.
And no one cared. No one cared. You're the first person who's cared, Charlotte.
I care so much. I care so much. B, I need to give my boyfriend Tyler credit, because I wouldn't have known that it was Brian Cox if he hadn't that's Brian Cox. That's the kicker. That's the kicker. He was like, that's Brian Cox. And I was like, what? And then I turned around and I'm so oblivious. I never, like, one time we were walking down the street and it literally was Peter Sarsgaard. And I was like, and he's like sort of like subtly nudging me, and I'm like, yeah, that kid in the red wagon sure is cute. And he was like,
oh no,
it was a famous.
I don't know if I'd recognize Peter Sarsgaard walking down the street though, because he's like Peter Sarsgaard.
That's what I mean.
He's one of those great actors where he like plays every role so well. I'm like, I don't even really know what he looks like. He just looks like that character and that character and that character.
Totally. I do not have the facial recognition skills, but Tyler does, and that's how I knew Logan Roy was in a bodega.
Tyler, actually AI.
Yep.
Also a Westworld robot that you've apparently been dating now. So,
well, there's no way of knowing, Mike.
No, there isn't. There's no way for any of us to know. Wow. All right. That was an incredible kicker at the end of that one. I don't have a recent celebrity encounter in New York. The most famous person I ever saw in New York was Spike Lee, but that doesn't even feel like it counts because it's New York and it's Spike Lee. And
was it at a Knicks game?
No, it was just on the street.
Okay, then it counts.
That counts.
If it's at a Knicks game, it doesn't count because, like, yeah, he's just there.
Still exciting. Doesn't count.
I just appreciate the silent plea that shows up in some celebrities' eyes. Like, I'll never forget. I was at the airport in Connecticut on a Sunday traveling, as was Randy Moss after he got done with Countdown. He was going back down to Charlotte where he lives. And we made eye contact at the gate. And the look, he had his hood up. He was sending every message. And we made eye contact. And those eyes said, please don't do this. Please don't say anything. I just want to fly in the fucking plane. And so I just looked, made eye contact, went back to not doing shit because I saw it was all right there. Like, we don't need to do this right now.
Yep. I don't know if I'll ever get famous enough to not want somebody to say they know who I am.
Yeah. For someone to come up and be like, oh, hi, Charlotte.
You have to be so famous for that to happen so much that you're like, please don't do it.
Yeah, no cameras.
Or just be an asshole.
Yeah, true.
Also that, which could be a very real and distinct possibility. Guys, I want to get to the second question I had for you guys in this. Michael David Smith from Pro Football Talk tweeted out that Jared Goff is better than Matthew Stafford right now.
I saw this.
Younger, healthier, and cheaper. And the Lions will get a top 5 pick from the Rams in the upcoming draft. The Rams winning the Super Bowl was an all-time example of results working out on a fundamentally bad trade.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Every once in a while, we go too deep in the football internet. And so I think I saw one of the guys over at Football Outsiders say they were going to pose the question. I think it might have been Mike Tanier who posed the question. If you were guaranteed one Super Bowl win, but your team would then finish dead last for the next 9 straight years, would you take it? And while I feel like this is going to hit different for different fan bases, unless you are a New England Patriots fan, I'd imagine the answer is overwhelmingly fuck yes.
The answer is always yes.
I'm recusing myself from this as a Patriots fan.
I mean, I could speak to this on behalf of like Cubs fans. We got one World Series and we've been trash ever since, even though we were supposed to have like a baseball dynasty. But Cubs fans never thought they'd win anything for 108 years.
Yeah.
So you take the World Series and you say, yeah, it sucks that they're kind of trash now. Like that shouldn't have happened. They should have been able to like be back in the World Series at least one more time with that core team. But it didn't happen. And we'll take the World Series. It was probably the best night of every Cubs fan's lives. So you take the championship and you don't sit on it a year later and think like, oh, the Rams are 4-9 or whatever they are right now. Like that was a mistake of a trade.
Yeah, that's basically saying you'd rather not win than win. Like what's the
I'd rather be.
Would you rather win and then not win for 9 years or not win at all? Like what's the trade-off here?
I mean, there's just so many things about this that are weird to me. Like, the Rams have one of the most injured teams in football all around. So hinging this on the quarterback trade, you could say maybe affected their ability to go out and get depth. But the Rams also told us this. They sat there and their GM said, fuck them picks. And basically said, we don't care about the future. We're here for the now. And they won in the now.
And it worked. It worked. That never works.
No.
And it worked.
We saw it work back-to-back years.
It's
the
incredible.
Buccaneers did the same shit. They brought Tom Brady over as the capstone for that team.
Oh,
and
so
they
I guess
said,
it does work. It doesn't never work. It actually has worked.
It does never work, but then it just worked back-to-back times. So it's like, all right, like clearly there's some chance for it to happen. And winning a Super Bowl is cool.
Maybe Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers was actually a bad idea because of everything that's happened since. So
also fair.
That would have been a better argument to make, in my opinion.
As a Patriots fan in year 3 of my next 9 losing ones, I just have to say it's fine.
It gets better. It gets better. Guys, the third that I wanted on here with you guys, Charlotte, this felt especially very akin to you. I saw Marshawn Lynch was on the Great American Holiday Baking Show not too long ago. And so I wanted to pose the question, is Marshawn Lynch the best current or former athlete that we could put on that show or in that setting? And if not, who would be a better choice?
I mean, I think he's up there. Let me think for a second.
The Seattle Times headline about this, by the way, said that Marshawn Lynch went yeast mode on the Great American Holiday Baking Championship. So
I was sort of bummed. I'm going to be honest. This has nothing to do with which athlete should be on it, that it was all celebrities. The best part of those shows is that they're normies baking.
But like normal American people,
not as charming.
As cute and charming as normal British people. I would prefer just to see the celebrities, to be honest. I thought about that too, Charlotte.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? The thing about the British people is they have the accent and they all have like cute little jobs and cute little families and cats and stuff. And we don't have that here. We're not a charming people. We are loud and obnoxious and
that's a good point.
Just the worst.
Yeah, so put the famous people who we know can talk on camera. Just like cut your losses.
Yep, we don't need a bunch of gruff and sweaty Midwesterners. We need celebrities.
I'm going to add Malort to my cupcakes. I don't know why that guy was from Chicago and Southern.
I
have no idea.
He's the best of both worlds. He pulled the reverse Brian Kelly. He came from Louisiana to Indiana. The reverse Brian Kelly, by the way, is also just the Deion Sanders. Take a really cool person, then send them to a place that's incredibly white.
Wow. Makes you think. I'm like blanking on any. I mean, I would love to see Pedro Martinez on a holiday baking show.
Pedro would be a good one. I feel like, honestly, I would like to have the entire Inside the NBA crew compete against each other. I know that's sort of cheating because they're the easy answer for almost every scenario.
Yeah, that is accurate. They are definitely that answer. I would like to see this is not Americans, but I'd like to see every Formula One driver on a baking competition show.
Oh, the Great British F1 Baking Show.
It would be really good. It would be, I mean, maybe just the British ones. Maybe you just do like Lando and Lewis and George Russell. Maybe you do all 20 of them. I mean, it would be kind of electric.
You're not wrong. Also,
you could have Martin Brundle hosting it too.
Oh my God, he could do like a grid walk. Like,
yep.
That's good stuff. I'm pitching that. I'm gonna pitch that to Channel 4.
Did you guys see the TikTok of, speaking of the Inside the NBA crew, of Kenny shoving Shaq into a Christmas tree and Shaq falls all the way through the Christmas tree?
Now, if we're talking about faking things, that's
took a dive with them. But you know what?
Yeah.
Worked.
Still loved it.
It always works. It always works.
Incredible chemistry.
Incredible chemistry, and I bet they'd be incredible. Who would actually be the best baker of that bunch? Because there's no way it would be Charles. You think it'd be Charles?
Yeah.
I said that so quickly.
Yeah, I have nothing to back that up.
I would go with Kenny.
I think I agree with Charles.
I
don't
could
know,
see him
though,
in an
'cause
apron.
I think of him golfing, and I'm like, maybe he's not that good at other hobbies.
He's good at golf now.
He did get better at it. That's true. He worked at it and got better.
I could see him caring enough to like really try to get a cupcake recipe right.
I think that if he did try, he would be good at it. But I think he would show up and just do shenanigans the whole time.
I think Ernie would
put like
be
a chocolate chip on one front
piping
tooth.
instrument.
Yeah.
All right, well, long awkward silence means that it's time to end this conversation about baking and this podcast. Everybody, thank you to Jess Smetana and Charlotte Wilder. Everyone, make sure you check out the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. Make sure you check out Golick and Smetty. Jess, Off the Looking Glass, is that going to be coming back here soon? You and Kate Fagan?
Yes, we are working on it as we speak. Not really, because I'm on this show right now, but we are working on it. That is accurate.
Tremendous. So make sure you guys check that out as well. Charlotte, we know you just finished up with the college football tour this fall here. Is there anything else you'd like to plug here in the interim? At the Wilder Things on social media is always where you can find Charlotte's wonderful content in the interim.
Yeah, just no. I'm in the college football travel hangover. So when I have more new stuff to plug, I will plug it.
Char, I heard you're going to State College next weekend.
What?
Or I'm sorry, College Station. I heard you're going to College Station next weekend.
Jessica.
Catch Charlotte Wilder living in College Station in perpetuity for the next year.
Heart attack.
Thanks so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Boom. Money in the bank.